How do you counter these false narratives in a public space? You did talk about changing the mindset of people and also the government officials. Can you give examples of on how you did challenge the mindset of people with regards to false narratives in your work?
Sorry, are you asking me?
Yes.
All right. Okay. We tend to try to we attempted to counter their arguments as well as their false claims by doing more grassroots education. For example, like we conducted a lot of grassroots kind of seminars as well as kind of explanations. We go down to earth and also try to engage more people, local people, and then tell them that please look and see, some ways are not, really waste. They are not rubbish. They are displaced resources. If you put it into the right place at the right time, then you will get a different result, definitely. Then we educated people how to differentiate and also segregate waste, and then tell them that if you, group all those displaced resources together, it becomes very, very valuable. And somehow, for example, if you manage to group all metal together, scrap metal, if you just dispose them like that, freely, things like that, it moves nothing. But if you group them together, somehow it becomes very, very valuable, and you can make a lot of money from that. And sometimes you even have to ask someone to guard about your, metal waste also. Otherwise, it will be stolen and will be kind of, taken by other people. So you can see it's about how you segregate it, how you group them, and how you, I mean, uh, manage the sources and also the inbound and outbound of the sources. If you manage to put them in a very, very good shape and also in a good pipeline, then you will get different results in a complete different scenario from what the authority claim. So this is what we have done, and recently also not only this kind of local campaign, we also try to have more dialogues with different stakeholders, as well as we try to also to convince our environmental department that yes, zero waste is useful as well as, and also we local people love it, and also we local people are really interested in zero waste rather than those of WTE. For one example, like in Batu Alang, which is a local village in Malaysia, and the government wanted to build one mega incinerator over here. We try to persuade and also send out a lot of memorandum as well as a kind of explanation to environmental department, and we tell them that we local people more than now we managed to gather more than 10,000 petitions to objective, and we local people not only objective, we have shown that we local people can segregate waste, we local people can treat waste better and also more professional than those waste operators, and we can turn them into precious items rather than rubbish. Then just last week we received a letter from environmental department saying that yes, they really think that local people, yes, they I mean respect local people. They more they more tend to use this zero waste method rather than other method. So perhaps they think that they also think that yeah, this is what the local people want, and then the environmental department they try to convey our message to the waste operators that a lot of people they want zero waste. They don't want that kind of big scale and also uh, what kind of investment and intensify kind of a project, big project, and uh, somehow we are in the process, still in the process. We not only want to convey to persuade the waste operator, but also we wanted to persuade also the environmental department also that yeah, zero waste is working and also it's very important. Please give us a second chance rather than you just listen to one side. You can listen to us, then perhaps you will see different results. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Mr. Lam.
Yeah.
Um, as a last question to you, I would like to ask in relation to that. Uh, so you talked about how zero waste is being used as a sort of a tool uh, in order to prevent the income of the entry of incinerators, in order to promote better waste management systems. Given that, given the ongoing great efforts that GAIC and your partners are doing, and also considering the different challenges there in Malaysia, I'd like to ask, how do you see the future of zero waste in Malaysia?
Yeah, I can tell you that the zero waste in Malaysia, uh, okay, in reality, it is marginalized by other government. But on the flip side, it means that we've got a lot of room to improve. Yeah, it depends on how you see the problem. If you go to, go to some rural area, if you see local people, they don't wear slippers, or some slipper seller, they think that, oh, I don't have chance to sell my slippers. But for others, on the flip side, for the other slipper seller, perhaps they think that, see, this is the chance of the market. This is a chance of for the our, I mean, for the market. So I got a lot of opportunity to penetrate it. So for me, yes, I agree that, and I have to admit that yes, the government they don't really appreciate as well as they don't really pay attention to zero waste. But on the flip side, it means that we have a lot of work to do, and also we have to gear up and also to prove that zero waste is working and also can be a very good solution also. And because we are not saying building, kind of castle in the air, because we got a lot of evidence from other countries. For example, maybe from Philippines, from Indonesia, from other countries, they have already proven that zero waste can really help to reduce a lot of municipal waste, and also in a very clean and also green way. So they do not produce any hazardous gases. They don't really only enrich those waste operators. It also empower and also enrich local people. More people get involved, more people get educated, and more this becomes a kind of a societal activities. So everyone is mobilized to do this honor and also noble job. So for me, I think, yeah, there are two ways to look at this, but I look at this from an optimistic perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Lam, for ending us on a very optimistic note there. We will now move on to our next guest. Arpita, could you please introduce our next guest?
Sure. First of all, thank you for your patience, Soon and Tita Eileen. It's really great that we have you both here. I want to start us off with maybe Tita Eileen of Eco Waste Coalition in the Philippines. You've been doing this for decades, and you've been instrumental in setting up the Eco Waste Coalition and making sure that all of the successes, whether it is regarding preventing incineration or it's about mainstreaming reuse solution or pushing for more progressive policies, or even having the coalition being recognized and included in and heard by the government. There's been much to learn from the EcoWaste Coalition. We also have the publication, which captures some of the work that EcoWaste Coalition has been doing. My first question to you is, can you share a little bit about the history of the coalition, and what are the kind of challenges that you've faced in setting it up and in making sure that it is smooth in terms of its operations as well?
Um, what's very interesting, looking back, but connecting it to the present, is the current issue about a landfill disaster that happened very recently. If I recall how zero waste initiative started, it was also because of um, a smoky landfill, Smoky Mountain, during the time of the former uh, the senior Marcos, no? And the struggle against the incineration, which gave birth to the Republic Act 9003, which is the law on ecological solid waste management. And it's very interesting that it's already 25 years, and EcoWaste been has followed the development of waste management in the Philippines since that time. And yes, there are successes in some ways, but as an alliance, uh, we have our, how shall I say this, our strengths in terms of being an organization that is composed of various sectors working together, the churches, the schools, uh, progressive local government units. Um, so the composition of our alliance is such that it enables us to address the various connected issues of waste management in the country. And that is why I think one of the strengths of EcoWaste is that uh, it is able to connect and build partnerships across different sectors, including the government. That is why EcoWaste has a seat in the National Solid Waste Management Commission. It also has a seat in the Solid Waste Management Board of Metro Manila. Uh, and our members are active also in the different local governments as members of the local solid waste management board. So I think the strength comes from being able to work with various sectors and especially with communities. No, I think that is one of our uh, foundation, our, how shall I describe it? It's where we uh, get our most strength, because we we the members experience how uh, waste and pollution issues affect them, but are also able to find at least interim solutions, although they are not long term. I think that's how I would answer your question.
Thanks so much, Tita Eileen. Now, you mentioned a very important point in that Eco Waste Coalition has a seat in the Solid Waste Management Commission, a very
Mm.
important body in the different directions that solid waste management takes in the country. Um, with that in mind, I'm sure you have come across, you've observed, and perhaps you've experienced firsthand a lot of the different challenges when it comes to implementing very important laws like RA 9003, the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, and of course in promoting and pushing for zero waste in the country. Could you provide us some insights into those different challenges from your point of view at Eco Waste Coalition?
What is quite interesting is the Department of Environment and Natural Resources celebrated the 25th year of the law just a few days ago. And what is interesting there, uh, well, one observation I have is that most of the government functionaries, as well as NGO leaders, are in the aging uh, population sector. No, I miss. I would love to have the younger generation be part of those that are sitting in these positions of influence. No, and if we talk of challenges, I I keep I kept hearing this evening about waste to energy incinerator problems, and that is one of the biggest challenge we have now, because the government is contemplating to amend the law to include WTE in its provision as a legitimate way of disposal technology. We had the former president, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, who was the speaker, saying that RA 9003 has to, uh, because it's already 25 years old, must, uh, uh, how do you say this? It must uh, develop and along with the new technologies, and she was referring to WTE, and saying that the, she is open, although she is open to uh, the people going to her the congressional committee to place our uh, position on this, no. But what is also striking at uh, that activity was the first secretary of DNR, Bebet Gosun, who spoke about who said that the conversation, the narrative is missing the point, that it is not uh, disposal of, especially of plastic waste, that is the main issue, the main challenge, but it is the 52% of compostable waste that practically is still problematic. No, so she was saying that why are we pushing for WTE? The plastic component of our solid waste is only roughly 20% over, while the compostable waste, biodegradable waste is about 50, 52% or so. And when she is right in saying that this uh, section of waste is not really being paid attention to. Although in the beginning of the implementation in the early 2000, there were a lot of activities, even at the level of the local governments, to put up composting facilities, but that has not really taken off. And I think one of the challenges also for this aspect of waste is that now that we have a growing population, the land requirements of landfill cannot is it's difficult to meet because it's also competing with renewable energy projects like solar farms and wind farms. At the mercy are our agricultural land. So it's, as one of our colleagues here has said, the problem is really systemic. It's not just solid waste. No. So that's where we are. And if we talk of challenges, that wow, our local we will be having a national election in 2028. That will also include election of uh, congressmen, and if I'm not mistaken, even the local government. And that is, again, something that we have to really work on. How can we have new zero waste advocates in the national government and the local government? But I think one of the successes that we are proud of, despite all the challenges, is that our work with the informal waste sector is really getting stronger. In fact, it's being adopted by the national and local governments as one area of work that they want to uh, develop as well.
Right. Thank you so much, Tita. This has been excellent hearing you about the whole scenario of the Philippines in the last, I think you went back to the 90s as well. So we've gone at least 3 decades back in time. And your point around young leadership coming in and taking on the baton is very important. I'm very glad that Brex is here. I think Brex is one of the young Filipinos who is doing this excellent work. And I hope you have some hope seeing Brex here. I want to bring in Soon at this point, who is the coordinator of the Vietnam Zero Waste Alliance. Soon, Tita talked a lot about different challenges and learnings and also success of the Eco Waste Coalition. Um, and I know you also have a very good working relationship with your government in that you engage in different policy processes. You're part of various kind of workshops. I want to ask you how, if you have any kind of like synthesized learnings on how do you build relationship with the government, different agencies in the government, what have been the challenges, what are the learnings from your perspective? And I know Tita also talked about upcoming elections in 2028 in the Philippines. Do you think local politics changing has, like, what kind of impact does that have in building this relationship with the government? Over to you, Sun.
Thank you, Peter. It's a very interesting but very difficult question. In Vietnam, as a Vietnam Zero Waste Alliance, we try to show up the successful of zero waste solution. We do policy advocacy as a collective action. So we do it at a central level. We try to advocate for good regulation on extended producer responsibility, single-use plastic reduction, circular economy, and a global plastic treaty. So in doing advocates for those policy, we have a chance to work with the local, with the central government, the Ministry of Environment, now is the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment. Yeah, many organizations under the ministry has responsibility to draft the law and the decree. For example, the law on environmental protection, the decree under that law, and circular thing like that. So we have a chance to support them to draft those regulations. So in the doing together like that, we have a chance to we build up the relationship with the government. Yeah, not only the central government, but also the city government. With the city government, we have a NGO as a bridge, because we support and local NGO to do zero waste project, and they have a very close relationship with the local government. Yeah. So and we often be invited to be in the consultation workshop with them. And so the challenge is that here I would like to talk about the challenge of building up the Vietnam Zero Waste Alliance, and also build up the zero waste model. So the first, the one is that in Vietnam we don't have many NGO like other country. We have a few of them, and they just start working with the waste sector recently, especially the plastic sector. And so we have a few of NGO, and capacity is not high, and also its organization have a different expertise, different position, and so we need to gather them. And we have some challenge is that we lack of fund. The member lack of fund for implement zero waste comprehensively and wisely. The fund for zero waste at present is small in scale and short in duration and discrete in space. So it reducing the impact of our advocacy for zero waste. The second challenge is that it's a low environmental awareness of citizens. Many people, we often not educated with the environmental responsibility. So many people have no idea about the waste, where the waste come from, where the waste goes, and how it impacts the ecology, how it impacts the human health, and our life. They often prioritize individual convenience over the environmental protection. The third challenge, as Tita and other mentioned already, that is the industry lobby. Many incineration investors, they come to our country and sell the technology, incineration technology. They convince province that this technology is a good one. There's no need waste sorting at source, and so the problem is that the province they thought this technology can solve the problem. Can get rid of the landfill that is full. But in fact, the incineration with the mixed waste, it's produce a lot of toxic residual And that's the toxic we still need landfill for that toxic residue of 27 to 30%. And wet incineration is part of the linear economy. It cannot solve the waste crisis, and it's an pie solution. It discourages the motivation of redesign, reuse, reduce, and recycle. And the fourth challenge is that the political win, as Tita also mentioned, in Philippines, a different term have a different policy. And in Vietnam, recently, we have the administrative restructuring. Before we have a four administrative level, but now we have a three only, and there's a merging of province. So some of our work have to restart because before we already advocate successfully with some province about the waste policy, but now we have to redo because there's that province is merged with other one. Yes, so as a challenge is economic growth, income increasing, people consume more, and then the rest more waste, and in the era of climate change, there are a lot of extreme disaster like flood, storm, typhoon, and so though of event is disrupt or interrupt our work. Sometimes we have to do again, or sometimes it's interrupted. Yes.
Thanks so much, Soon, for laying out so many of the insights from your working relationship with the government, and also all the other different challenges in the overall context in promoting zero waste work. Now, you talked about several challenges, issues, such as you talked about climate change. There's the issue of political will. I'm wondering, maybe this would be helpful for our audience. How does zero waste look like on the ground from your context? What are the right points in your advocacy, in your campaign? What are, let's say, some of the success cases coming from Vietnam?
For this question, I think let me introduce a bit about the Vietnam Zero Waste Alliance. We are very young alliance compared to Zero Waste Coalition in Philippines. We just established in 2017 with support from Gaia and Pacific Environment. We are the network of local NGO and social enterprise. We now have a 10 core member. So the successful of the alliance is that this year we are able to issue the charter. For the first time, we have an official charter, and we have a coordination board, and we set up the rule of working together. For example, the decision of IZWM will be made based on the voting mechanism with 60% dominance. And so we work together. And another successful is that, at the beginning in 2017, zero waste is a very new concept to us, and only few people believe in that. Some people still said in the workshop that, oh, zero waste is impossible. But we are patient enough. We step by step we learn from Gaia. We communicate, discuss, and start pilot building the zero waste model. And so after 8 years, now we have many zero waste model already. For example, zero waste school, zero waste hotel, zero waste office, zero waste community, zero waste in tourism, and starting with the healthcare sector. So, like people believe in, and some of our partner before they said impossible, but now they starting doing with zero waste model. So that is a good one. We also success in, we able to use zero waste, successful zero waste model to do advocate for the policy. So we able to join the national dialogue or consultation workshop on policy. Yeah, we can involve in the decision making process. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Soon. I think you've been able to, in a very short time, give a very beautiful context of Vietnam, including the challenges from political to public engagement to challenges with regards to the various aspects of the triple planetary crisis with worsening climate disasters as well as um, uh, worsening pollution and how technology and technocratic solutions are coming from the industry. So it has been excellent hearing you. I want to move to Tita Eileen, who's also talked quite a bit about the various challenges with regards to what has happened in the Philippines in the last 3 decades. How land is becoming a competitive commodity to either manage renewable energy projects, or to look at how do we set up composting and disposal facilities, and so on. And given that we have national elections coming up in 2028, but also, Tita, we have Philippines hosting the ASEAN set of events this year in 2026. Do you think it's an opportunity for Philippines, for Southeast Asia, given that Gaia has our members, very active members in Southeast Asia, from Vietnam to Indonesia to Malaysia and Philippines and many others? What do you think should be the focus for us, the focus for, like, what should be our expectations from Philippines, and what do you think we can do at this point, this year in the Philippines, to ensure that we are really capturing the moment? I think you are on mute, Tita.
Just listening to everyone tonight, I think one of the important uh, piece of work that uh, we can uh, have a platform to really push, uh, not just for end of the pipe technologies, but really to highlight the tradition of Southeast Asian countries in conserving resources, in reuse, and how we can really uh, push for community voices in the ASEAN. And that's how I see it.
Thank
And
you.
of course, especially, I think one common thread is the concern about waste to energy technologies. I I think one of the challenges for the Philippine delegation would be that we only have one vocal scientist to really explain uh, the dangers of WTE. And I'm hoping that representatives from the other ASEAN countries can pitch in and really highlight also the scientific basis for why we are not for WTE. That's it. That's it, Arpita. Yes.
Thank you so much, Tita. You want to go ahead, Brex? I can't hear you.
Thanks, Tita Eileen. And maybe one last question for Soon to close this off at the end, to end this session. So we've heard a lot of good news, of bad news, of inspiring stories, and also of challenges. Soon, I wonder, from your vantage point, working with Gaia for so long and about to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Vietnam Zero Waste Alliance, how do you see the future of zero waste, both in your country and also regionally in Asia Pacific?
Thank you, Brex. I think a lot about the future of zero waste in Vietnam. And when we set up VZWA, we think that by 2040, the zero waste lifestyle will be widely adopted and facilitated across Vietnam. We, with the zero waste model building, we imagine that by 20, the government will first divest from coal solution like incineration and invest in zero waste solution. And with that direction, we hope that by 2030, the waste diversion rate in Vietnam is about 30%, and in 2040 is about 80%, and it keeps increasing, I hope. And at that time, we think that the zero waste in Vietnam will be embedded mainstream in every event, action, business. For example, is the will be embedded in the cultural events like we will have a zero waste Lunar New Year, zero waste wedding, zero waste sports, zero waste concert, and zero waste will be reflected in the television film, yeah, and in the concerts or in the all of the traditional festival. And we can see more business with zero waste, like zero waste store, zero waste refill, and product will be designed to be distributed without plastic packaging. The e-commerce can be operated with, also without plastic packaging. And I also hope that at that time there's no plastic waste leakage to the environment and the water body. There will, by 2030, there's no open burning, and by 2040, there's no new incinerator in Vietnam. And at that time, the informal waste picker no longer be informal. They will be formalized. They will be respected and get the salary, deserve a salary, high income, and they will have insurance, social insurance, and health insurance. And I think that at that time, the Southeast Asia is a home of solution. The zero waste is adopted in on the region. Yes.
On that absolutely amazing, positive, future looking note, I think soon it was tremendous listening to you talk about like the very specific targets of waste diversion, waste reduction, of implementation of zero waste solutions, to the kind of policies and the kind of future you want for informal sector, for everyone as citizens, and for the good health of this planet and its people. It has been amazing hearing all of our speakers. We had an inspiring journey through the lens of our national alliances who've been working very hard, coordinating across groups and across different parts of their countries. We heard from Malaysia to Vietnam to Indonesia and to the Philippines, and they've made it clear that zero waste is not a conceptual idea. It is happening right now. And we are at the time where we must be asking for more investment into not just implementing but scaling up zero waste across Asia and across the globe. I wish we had more time. On behalf of my team, Brex and I think we loved this conversation. It was really enriching. So we are really grateful that you all managed to take time out and contribute and be present in the Zero Waste Feature Marathon 2026. This is part of a celebration of International Zero Waste Month. It is a dedication of incredible, inspiring leaders and community communities like yourself who keeps this movement alive and who really gives us the power, because we are fighting the big guns. We are fighting those who have the lobbying power, thanks to their presence across the globe, who have power because of the money and who have power because of the influence they hold on people as well. And to all of you watching, thank you for listening. Remember, we are in a movement. Zero waste is what where we all belong. Whether it's advocating or making the small lifestyle changes, as you heard today, you have the power to make a difference, whether you realize it or not. We are looking for young leaders to lead these alliances, as Tita Eileen said. And this wraps us our Building a Zero Waste Future segment. But do stay tuned, we have a lot more coming. You'll hear in a short while from our other regions, from Africa to Europe. Don't forget to join us in celebrating Zero Waste Month next year as well. 2027 promises to be even bigger. And with a virtual round of applause for our speakers and our alliance and the people behind the scenes who are doing incredible work together in making sure this happens. Thank you, and I wish you all a very good evening, a very good night.
Bye bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for staying with us. Our next segment is a film showing entitled Field of Dreams. Once a mountain of garbage known as Smoky Mountain, the area has become a thriving community that has nurtured the land long dismissed as worthless. But as their farmland and simple way of life flourish, they now stand on the brink of demolition brought about by foreign-funded billion-peso waste-to-energy facility that endangers their homes, their health, and their future. Let's watch it now.
'Yung ang naabot namin dito. Kaya ito lang naman alam namin hanap buhay, magbubukid, wala nang iba. Kaya sabi ko sa mga anak ko, wala to, tsaga-tsaga tayo okay. At magawa mga anak. Kaysa naman tagagawa tayo ng masama. Ito yung mga bakal, mga tanso, iniipon namin. Para magandang buwan. Para may pambiling kape, bigas, bakal. Diba sabi ni Corle Macapagal nung araw na lahat ng bakanteng lupa na kayong mahirap, pasukin nyo. Magpaalam kayo sa chairman kung papayag at taniman nyo para makilabangan nyo mahirap. Yun naman ang sinabi ni Corle Macapagal doon, diba? Kaya nandito naman kami noon. Dito ako namatayan ng asawa, mga apo. Matagal na kami dito. Basta pumasok ako dito, tanda-tanda ako, 2006. Una ako nagtanim ng gulay dito. Lukbati, talong, saluyot. 4 hectares yung tinataniman ko. Ito nga, halos hindi ko na makaya kaya may edad na rin ako. Magsaka ang punta ko talaga. Hindi magtanim ng bahay. Gawa ng dumami rin yung bahay ko. Dahil yung mga anak ko rin, hindi maliliit pa yung mga dito sila yan, mga yan. Nagpamilya sila, siyempre. Ginawaan ko sila ng barong-baro para may bukod sila sa akin. Kasi may mga pamilya na rin sila mahirap naman ko sama-sama ko sa akin. Kaya bawat sa kanila, meron nilagyan ko ng tahanan. Mahirap naman ko magsama-sama kami isang bubong lang. May mga anak na, may mga asawa na rin. Binigyan ko sila ng tirahan nila. Si Punso, ito na rin. Pinagawa ko ito, pinagawa may dalawa. Panibagong pagsikap, isang kita sa taniman, ito ang nagawa. Alam naman na dito kami nag-aanap buhay, okay pa. Demolish lang na bakit bigla nag-demolishan. Mga bahay daw. Pero yung taniman, hindi ko alam, iba naman yata yung taniman daw. So, basta yung mga bahay tanggalin. Nakiusap ko yung chairman, no? So, sabi niya, pwede naman magtanim, pero isang taniman lang. Yun, ang pinapalain ko lang, lalabas lang yung punan ba? Bago kami matanggal dito. Hindi kami nakaprepara.
Dagit na dumadapo dyan pa.
Gusto ko man lang sana pag hindi pa kailangan. Total, kaya ko pa naman magtanim. Pabayaan muna ako para makabawi-bawi man lang. Kung kailangan total, wala pa naman yung project. Hayaan mo muna ako magtanim-tanim. Total, hindi naman ako nag-istorbo. Iwan ko kung anong project ito. Narinig ko yata yung gagawin daw power yung ilaw. Ano ba yun? Hindi ko maintindihan eh.
Bilang ang Manila, no? Madaming mata na nasa Manila bilang capital. Malaking project to. Impact supported to, no, ng World Bank tsaka yung Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. So yung concept ng waste to energy, yung tinutukoy natin, thermal waste to energy. Usually ito yung mga malalaking mga facility, mga technology na nagsusunog ng basura. Tapos mula sa proseso na yon, nagiging energy, nagiging kuryente. Yung nakita naming trend, no, sa Gaya, napapansin namin, so parang yung market, yung mga kumpanya ng waste to energy, parang pumupunta na sila sa mga Asian countries, no? Na una, less stringent yung mga batas, yung mga protections dito sa mga, kung ano yung mga chemicals, mga products na lumalabas dito. At pangalawa, yung democratic indicators na practice ng democracy, mas may militarization, mas may democratic backsliding, mas mahirap ma-uphold yung mga rights natin, mga rights ng communities.
Hindi nila alam na si Upper Smoky Mountain is nag-develop. Ang daming mga halaman po, ang daming pong napapagkakitaan po ng mga gulay po at nakakapag-import po. Ayun nga po, in 2022, nagulat na lang kami, nag-announce si Chairman na lahat daw ng resident ng Upper Smoky Mountain is pumunta po sa covered court. Tapos, in-explain po ni Chairman, si Upper Smoky Mountain ay kailangan po talaga na alisin na yung mga tao kasi gagawin daw po condominium. Ayan po ang unang pangako po sa amin na bibigyan po kami, ang offer po sa amin financial assistant is 60,000. Bibigyan po daw po kami 60,000 para pang rent ng bahay after daw po ng project ng condominium is lilipat din daw kami rito. Maungupahan daw po muna kami. Ayun po ang sabi. And then, ayun po, may mga kahit pa nagpagiba, naniwala, na nagkampante. Tapos yung pangalawang meeting po namin, doon na po kami nagulat na ang sabi sa amin na may-ari daw po neto na kailangan na daw po ng may-ari. Sa isip-isip naman po namin na resident ng Upper Smoky Mountain, nasaan yung unang meeting namin na pinag-usapan?
Siyempre, pag sinabi mong tondo, talagang mukha lagi ng kahirapan, hindi lamang ng Maynila, pati ng buong Pilipinas. Kaya kapag naiisip yung Smoky Mountain, ay nakatatak pa rin sa tao na tambakan ito ng basura. Pero lagi ko sinasabi sa kanila, hindi na ito ganon katulad nung dati, nung 1990s. Yung kasalukuyang kalagayan sa Smoky Mountain, patuloy pa rin yung laban nila sa paninirahan dahil nga balak silang i-demolish dyan. Pangunahin na may proyekto kasi dyan, yung Manila LGU. MIEC, Manila Integrated Environment Corporation, na pagmamay-ari rin naman ni Regis Romero under sa kumpanya niya na Pileco. Si Regis Romero ay may kumpanya yung R2 Builders na ang saklaw na area ng mga komunidad na maapektuhan niyan na balak palayasin, yung Aroma, Hapilan, Bitas, at itong ang Smoky Mountain.
Nag-umpisa daw po yung project dito is January daw po, pagpasok daw po ng January ng 2026 po kasi kailangan na daw po na alisin daw ito yung bundok para itayo daw po ito yung waste to energy.
Ang waste to energy facility project ang ibinibida ng national government sa kanang LGU bilang solusyon sa usapin sa basura at sa pagbaha. Pero malinaw na hindi kasi kung isipin mo itong mga kapitalistang to yung problema ng pagbaha eh. Ngayon naman itong si Regis Romero, binibida niya yung waste to energy facility project niya under ng ano niya, ng Pileco niya. Talagang inilako ito ni Bongbong Marcos sa dayuhang korporasyon sa Japan.
At present, our demand for energy far exceeds our reliable supply. We must increase the level of energy production. We must look at every possible option that would be appropriate for the Philippine situation. We must build new power plants.
Ang waste-to-energy facility project ay hindi isang renewable source of energy. Napatunayan ng maraming sektor, hindi ito pabor sa mga maralita dahil masama ito sa kalusugan, kabuhayan at kanilang paninirahan.
Ganun talaga yung experience namin dito sa Smoky Mountain and in other sites, no, with our partners. Talagang mahirap makakuha ng information. We were following yung process, no, with our partners, kunwari yung Eco-Waste Coalition, working on the ground, and also Reboot. Tinitingnan namin, pina-follow namin I think nung mga February or March pa lang, meron ng announcements ng public consultation or yung formally called the public scoping. Yung public scoping na to, mag-feed sa environmental impact assessment na process and eventually kung mabibigyan nga ng environmental compliance certificate. So sa proseso ng pag-follow namin ito, napansin namin sa una pa lang sa unang dalawang public scoping, mga public consultation na ginanap, very selective. Ito yung ayon sa mga community members, very exclusive, no, yung mga public consultation na to. Yung iba hindi sila pinayagang mag-join. Yung iba ang sabi nila parang mga 10 lang yung nag-join talaga sa consultation. Yung iba sabi nila, nalaman lang namin yung may public scoping pala nung tapos na. And in fact, halata kung tatanungin ng community, kulang talaga yung info nila, yung information tungkol sa itatayong project. At tingin namin, sign talaga ito na unang-una, hindi effective or hindi valid ang public scoping na nangyari.
Ayun nga po, nagkaroon po kami dito ng samahan na USM, samahan na magkakapitbahay sa Upper Smoky Mountain. Kami talaga is naninindigan na talaga na pag-awa ng Diyos is wala na magpapagiba at gusto namin antayin yung pakikipagdiagulo ni Mayor at kung ano po talaga yung magiging resulta sa amin. Yun lang naman po yung hiling namin, maipagdiagulo si Yorme, yung may-ari po sa amin para po inform po kami, tapos maayos na proseso.
Illegal po ang ginagawa ng local government. Babuyan! 72! 79! Abolition! Abolition! Yan, dito na. Salam. Ito guys. At sila. Sige.
Yung kaliwang kamay mo, ilagay mo dun sa ilalim ng
Dito. Yung pinag-anuhan ng feeling mo. Jenny, sikat ka na, Jenny. Pero kami talaga pag maganda ang panahon.
Dito ang kabuhayan, bukid Yung naglinis ng taniman, yan lang naman ang alam ng anak buhay namin, yung gulay. Diyan kami nabubuhay sa gulay. Kasi mahiwaga yan Masakit ang loob namin pag kinuha itong lugar ko sa amin. Basta-basta lang po.
Sabi nga sa akin ng mga tao dun sa Smoky Mountain, yan dati Cisco. Ito yung nangangalakas sa Smoky Mountain Tapos doon, kinakain niya yung pagpag, ganyan. Tapos ngayon, nakalimutan niya na kami. Parang hindi na siya lumiyon sa pinanggalingan niya.
tumatatak na yun sa amin sa isipan namin na hindi dapat ganito yung mangyayari sa amin. Dapat yung ginagawa namin is may paroroonan. Kasi ang katwiran namin, na umpisahan na namin, dapat tapusin namin. Kung ano talaga magiging resulta, tatanggapin namin. Basta, at least, ginawa namin lahat ng mga kaya. Pero, parang awa naman po is, bigyan naman po kami ng maayos na tirahan.
Kung anong desisyon nila yung sa bahay, tungkol sa bahay naman, yung mga nakatira. Kung yun ang gusto nila, di bakit natin supportahan sila, di ba? Tulad yung bunso ko, gusto niyo yung bahay. Di ba na kung ano na ipapusuhan nyo, tuloy nyo yan kasi mabuti naman ang ginagawa nyo. Wala din naman ako nakaperwisyon ng tao. Kung magwawagi kayo, kung may tutulong sa inyo, salamat naman kung may tutulong sa inyo. Kasi walang ibang makatulong dyan sa Panginoon, sa sarili nyo, sa mga ibang tao na tutulong sa inyo. Wala nang iba. Kailangan na lumabang kayo na para sa inyo, ba't di nyo gawin? Wala naman mawawala sa inyo eh. Wala naman mawawala sa inyo. So, kasi importante, mag-ingat lang kayo. Basta na po lang sa buhay ko di sa bundok. Talagang ganda talaga. Talagang, kung mahina lang ang tao eh, wala talaga eh. Iiyak talaga eh. Pero, kawa ng Diyos, binigyan ako ng lakas. Kaya maabot pa rin ako ng ganito.
Habang tumatagal po kami rito, unti-unting nauubos yung bahay namin sa lugar namin. Tirahan lang ang aming hiling. Ipaira lang sa amin yung batas na itinatag ng gobyerno para sa amin. Mayor, pakiusap po. Nakikiusap po kami lahat dito. Harapin niyo naman po kami. Bisitahin niyo po kami kung anong nangyayari sa amin. Kung may court order, pupunta pa ba kami rito? Wala. Kung may relocation, pupunta pa ba kami rito? Wala.
Alright, thank you everyone for joining us for Field of Dreams. So we've just witnessed a story of resilience, community, and the ongoing challenges facing the Smoky Mountain and the Philippines. So we'll now proceed with the sharing session now. We're very lucky because we have the community members here and also the people behind the documentary. So before that, let's do a quick introduction first of everyone. Yeah, I think from the filmmakers, we have Roy from Tudla Productions. Hi, Roy. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
All right. Hi, Roy.
Hi.
Okay. So we'll have some questions later for you, and we also have some community members. We have Anora, the Vice President of Samahan ng Magkakapitbahay sa Upper Smoky Mountain or SMUSM. Hi, Anora. Good evening as well. Already saw you. Hi, Anora. And of course, last but not the least, the President of Sama-Sama para sa Maayos sa Tahanan at Hanap Buhay, we have Ate Maria Fe Hulipaz. Hi, Ate Fe. Okay, thanks everyone for joining us. Let's start first with Roy, no? What inspired you to tell the story of Smoky Mountain now?
I've been integrating in different urban poor communities around the National Capital Region, specifically here in Tondo. And beyond the issue of the incinerator, I think what relates towards a lot of communities there is the issue about the eviction threats and demolition. And it's more of the inspiration, whereas the community itself, say for instance, in the Smoky Mountain, they established their organization called the Samahan ng mga magkakapitbahay sa Upper Smoky Mountain. it's their will to take up the space and fight for their housing, their livelihood, and their access to social services. Because um, in essence, right to housing is a fundamental right that they should deserve.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that, Roy. And as you said, this is not really just an issue of their right to have proper living condition. It's also an issue about the environment. It's also issue of people being displaced in their own or in their right homes. So, if ever did your view change in terms of filming this, and how does if ever change your perspective in doing the filming of the documentary, Roy?
Actually, okay, thank you. Actually, in Metro Manila, you would not think that we're capable of having like farmlands. Of course, there's a community in Quezon City called the Cruz Naligas. And to think about Tondo, Manila that has a farmland, and that is in Smoky Mountain. So it kind of just changed the narrative as to how people would perceive. In the documentary, I think Mark Cabangon from Defend Manila has already mentioned that the Smoky Mountain was once a garbage dump site. However, as time goes by and as we went there, we realized and we've seen that the community itself has grown into a thriving community with the farmland. So that's what we wanted, and that's what we hope to put emphasis on. And I hope that through the film, it signals not only the local government, but also the national government to provide social services as at the same time support local farmers, especially in urban communities like there in Smoky Mountain.
All right, thank you, Roy. And during the filming as well of the documentary, did you have any ethical challenges while
Mm,
also documenting their lives, their livelihood, etc.?
yeah, I'm
Ayan
actually
po,
kept in touch
i-mute
with
ko.
the with Gaia. Uh,
Ano ba, i-mute? Yung hindi ako maririnig.
kept in touch with Brex, and I've also spoken with different climate experts. I'm also a fellow on the Earth Journalism Network, so I'm also familiar with different experts regarding the environment preservation, regarding incinerator issues. So I also had to constantly communicate with the community, with Anora herself. I've been in touch with the community members or the members of the SMUSM, and their inputs, their anecdotes are based on the ground reality that they're experiencing. Um, and I think that's what precisely made the documentary possible. It's their story, it's their narrative, and we just echo that through the film. And it just became a tool to deliver their struggle, their demands.
Yeah. And thank you so much for telling their stories and giving them platform and space as well to see the reality of what's really happening in Smoky Mountain now. So, speaking of that, how did you find the balance of showing hope as well as their struggle in the film?
Mm. I mean, just by looking at it, you would see hope already. Like from the thing about seeing as a former dump site, and it became a thriving community with with eggplants, with the long, with the salud, etc. It already gives you hope. And as a filmmaker, I'm also a citizen of the Philippines, and I wanted my fellow Filipino people to, encourage them to make sense of the democracy that we're living. That while it's shrinking because of the constant threat, like the displacement, and beyond the displacement threats, in Smoky Mountain, there are also under threat of militarization, like in 2023, not just in Manila, but also around the capital region. So it's really important for us to talk about their situation, their plight, and striking a balance between finding hope and with regard to their struggle. It's actually their story. It's not just about being resilient, it's their intent to fight back. I mean, imagine in the film, Anora would go to the city hall while it's flooding just to get a response from Mayor Moreno, and still they were not heard. So again, it's their story. We just follow through what their plans are. So
Yeah, thanks for doing that and giving them the liberty on how they also want to tell their own story. So last question for you, Roy, before we proceed to the community members. I know they're very excited to share as well their personal experience. So Roy, what do you hope international audiences take away from this story? Because we're not just showing in the Philippines, we're doing like live streaming all around the world. So yeah.
okay, the issue in Manila, specifically in Tondo, particularly in Smoky Mountain, as you have watched the documentary, it's just a short narrative of like a single family, but it can go along to different members because not only Tata Esteban is the farmer there are many farmers living in the Smoky Mountain, and they are deprived of their basic rights, fundamental rights. And up until now, it does not just stop there. Not only in urban but also in rural communities, we are doomed with threats to our environment, to our lives, to our livelihood, and it's something that we should be more mindful to take up ourselves and take up the space to struggle and fight for it. There are many ways to fight for our rights, and it's not wrong. It's no longer a taboo for us to not talk about, struggling and setting up marching towards the streets. I mean, especially now that the corruption issue in the Philippines is really rampant regarding the anomalous flood control and infrastructure projects. So it's very much important to not just to talk about it, but make a solution, and especially um, put those responsible, they should be held into account, that this is not what the community needs. Say, for instance, the waste to energy incinerator, it is seen as a band-aid solution because most of the communities, especially urban poor communities, are, they're being mocked that their waste management is wrong, so that this proposed WTE is the solution. It's not, because it affects not only their health, considering Smoky Mountain is near in the Manila Bay, and of course, when we talk about Manila Bay reclamation issue, so issues just interlink. And with regard to preservation and upholding environmental causes, we should see to it that the community itself is being nurtured, being supported in terms of their needs, their social services, and all that.
All right, thank you so much, Roy. And let's also give a shout out to your production assistants. Allow me to read their names. Rafael Mendoza, is it Zairine? Zairine Farales, Agasa Rabino, and Gia Tamayo. And of course, you as the director, writer, and editor. So thank you again for showing your masterpiece to everyone here. And let's go now to our community members. Very excited to welcome. Hi, Honora. And I think
Hi,
we have.
hello. Good evening.
Okay. So for Anora, ano yung pakiramdam nyo na nakita nyo yung community nyo sa pelikula, sa documentary na pinakita natin kanina? Ano yung naging pakiramdam mo?
Sa akin, ang pakiramdam ko is, kasi yung films na ginawa nila is hindi siya yung normal na
pelikula na gawa-gawa lang for ano lang, pero yung sa'min kasi parang na-touch ako sa kwento lalo na nandun yung tatay ko. And then ako na ano rin ako bilang isang officer sa aming komunidad, na ano rin ako na nanghihinayang at natutuwa rin kasi natutuwa ako kasi may pumansin sa'min, may nag-effort sa'min na gumawa ng film and then nalulungkot ako dahil yung pamumuhay namin sa Upper Smoky Mountain is napakatindi. Napakatindi ng pinagdadaanan namin na iisipin mo na yung ilang dekadang pinaghihirapan ng mga residente namin sa Smoky Mountain is sisirain lang nila para sa isang istrukturang makakabigay lang ng sakit sa kalusugan ng mga mamamayang Pilipino, lalo-lalo dito sa Kamaynilaan. Ayun nga, yung napanood din namin yon is ang nag-expect kami sana pumutok yung issue namin na ganito ganyan, marami sana yung pumasok sa amin at bigyan kaming pansin. And then thank you, nagpapasalamat ako sa gumawa ng film. Hindi ko alam kung sino yung gumawa, pero thankful ako kasi nag-effort sila at binigyan nila ng pansin yung issue namin. Akala kasi namin dati is kami-kami lang yung punta rito, punta sa city, sigaw-sigaw rito, ano rito. Hanggang from that now is nakarating na tayo ng Senate hearing. Isang malaking tagumpay din yun.
Alright. Salamat, Anora. So yung nakasama natin kanina si Roy, isa siya sa mga gumawa ng documentary na pinakita natin kanina. So, salamat din sa pag-share nung nararamdaman mo and I hope na nakatulong talaga yung film sa current fight na ginagawa natin ngayon sa Smoky Mountain. So, anong naman yung, paano naman naka-apekto? Kanina may sinabi ka na merong technology na ini-introduce sa Smoky Mountain. So, paano naapektuhan ng proyekto ng waste to energy ang inyong mga tahanan at kabuhayan?
Unang-una, wala kaming alam sa instrukturang yan. Nalaman lang namin yan dahil kay Gaia or Global Anti-Incinerator kung ano nga ba talaga yung epekto ng waste to energy sa amin. At sa ngayon is malungkot man kasi hindi kami pinapaniwalaan ng ibang area na pag narinig natin yung waste to energy is maganda sa tenga. Kaya yung ibang komunidad is natutuwa kasi makakagawa ng enerhiya na akala nila is sila yung makikinabang. Sa ngayon, natatakot kami kasi kami lang yung lumalaban, hindi bukas ang isipan ng ibang mamayan dito sa Kamaynilaan about sa isyong waste to energy. Kaya natatakot kami sa proyektong yon kasi maalis man kami doon at matuloy man yon, patuloy pa rin kami maaapektuhan ng isyong proyektong waste to energy kasi kahit saan kami magpunta yung pollution natin isisirain niya. Yung environment natin sisirain niya. Sa isyong flood control nga lang, grabe na yung pasakit ng mga mamayang Pilipino. Paano na kung natuloy itong waste to energy sa komunidad na maraming populasyon, maraming maralita. Ang unang-unang maapektuhan niya ng proyektong waste to energy is yung mga maralita. Maralita, mga buntis, lalo na yung mga senior. Naawa ako kasi yung tatay ko, senior, if ever na matuloy yung waste to energy, isa siya Isa siyang maaapektuhan
Tama ka dyan, Anora. So, maraming salamat sa pagpapahayag. At marami rin tayo actually nakikita sa comment section. Hindi ko na nababanggit yung mga pangalan, pero nagpapakita rin sila ng suporta sa iyo at sa buong Smoky Mountain community. So, speaking of that, ano ngayon ang nagbibigay sa iyo ng pag-asa or hope para sa hinaharap?
Ang nagbibigay sa akin ng pag-asa is yung mga environment na pumapasok sa amin na tumutulong kahit sa ang ahensya ng gobyerno kami lumapit is nandiyan sila para pagsandalan namin at para alalayan kami. Lalo na sa mga komite na mga nakausap natin, hindi ko na rin babanggitin kung sino-sino man yan sila, pero nagpapasalamat ako dahil kahit pa paano sa isyong waste to energies, sa issue namin is may nakikinig na. Kasi dati, walang nakikinig sa amin. Ang tawag pa nga sa amin dati is salot. Masakit yon na salot na ipinaglalaban namin na hindi sana matuloy yung waste to energy kasi pag natuloy yung waste to energy, maapektuhan yung mga mamamayan natin dito sa ating bansa. Kasi alam naman po natin, di ba, sa inyo ko nga rin po nalaman yung may batas tayong Clear Air Act na nagpapatibay na dapat is pangalagaan natin ang ating kalikasan. Dapat hindi tayo magtayo ng isang istrukturang makakasira sa kalikasan natin kasi nga ulitin ko lang yung yung flood control eh. Kasi kung sa flood control, libo-libo yung namatay, paano na pag natuloy itong waste to energy, paano na tayo, saan na tayo lulugar? Ang waste to energy is billion din yung budget. Yung sakit din ng ating bansa is yung corruption. Panigurado na yung waste to energy na yan is papasukan din yan ng corruption. Papasukan din yan ng isyong corruption kasi billion yan.
Tama ka dyan, Anora. So, panghuli na lang, no, bago natin tapusin ang ating programa or film showing dahil mamaya meron pa tayong mga ibang segments. Ano kaya yung mensahe mo sa mga nanood or manonood pa ng film or documentary na to dahil hindi lang tayo sa Pilipinas naka-livestream din tayo sa iba't ibang bansa. So, ano yung mensahe mo sa kanila?
Nagbibigay ako ng paalala na sana is alam po natin na umuulad ang ating teknolohiya sa panahon natin ngayon, pero sana isipin din natin yung mga bagay-bagay na nakakatulong sa atin sa pang-araw-araw, lalo na yung environment. Kasi pag sinira natin to, ano na yung lalanghapin ng susunod na henerasyon? Ano na yung pagsisilungan ng mga bata sa susunod kung tatanggalin nila? Ayun ang aking mensahe at sana patuloy silang sumuporta sa amin sa isyung waste to energy kasi hindi biro ang proyektong inilalantaran ng ating mga kapitalista.
Tama ka dyan, Anora. At sa mga interesadong tumutok pa sa mga susunod na mangyayari sa laban ng Smoky Mountain, pwede niyo po i-follow ang Manila Anti-Incinerator Alliance sa Facebook page. So, dyan po-post ang grupo ng iba't ibang updates. So, maraming salamat, Anora, sa oras mo at sa pagbibigay ng realidad sa kung ano nangyayari ngayon sa Smoky Mountain. Once again, let's give virtual round of applause for Tudla Productions and also community of Smoky Mountain. We have Anora here. And thank you again, everyone. Please stay tuned to our next segment. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, good evening, good morning. Welcome back to Zero Waste Teacher Marathon, part of the celebration of the International Zero Waste Month. Thank you again for joining us in this 24-hour everything zero waste nonstop, starting this morning, it's gonna end tomorrow. And for this part of the segment, we're happy to introduce and welcome our next guest, Marisa from UMI. Hi, Marisa. Maybe you can introduce yourself and UMI to our audience.
Thank you so much, Adele. My name is Marisa Nordstrom, and I am a program officer for the UMI Fund, and I manage the GLOW network. GLOW stands for Global and Local Organizing on Waste, and I feel extremely privileged to have been working with this amazing group of people from all over the world, over 20 countries, coming together with a shared vision of zero waste, where nothing and no one is wasted. So environmental justice and community solutions for climate, methane reduction, and zero waste.
All right, thank you, Marisa. That's exciting and happy to hear that. And I hope everybody is still attuned with us. So I heard that you have an exciting event coming up this week. Can you tell us about what is GLOW? The name sounds exciting. GLOW, and what is the GLOW Life Cycle Gathering in the Philippines?
Well, we are so privileged that the Mother Earth Foundation, as well as Gaia Global, are part of the GLOW network. And we usually meet every 1 or 2 years at one of our partners and supporting organizations, countries, and so we can see material recovery facility centers in people's home country. And so this year, we're so grateful that the Mother Earth Foundation has graciously co-hosted this event. So we've been working around the clock for many months to bring over 45 people together from over 25 countries to work on storytelling capacity building so we can truly show the collective strength and impact of the zero waste global movement, as well as our 3-year strategic plan. And we're so excited to be in the Philippines for the first time for many of us.
Oh,
and we will be visiting several sites here in Manila and in Pampanga and in close by. And then we will go to Siquijor, which is an incredible opportunity to see a zero waste island, and also to celebrate Waste Worker Appreciation Day, which is the first time for many of us that we've had the privilege of being in a country that honors and celebrates the climate champions that waste workers are.
That sounds a lot, but very comprehensive. I know you're excited for everything, but any activity in particular that you are really thinking that, okay, I'm